Hello, my dear student. Welcome back to another learning lesson in my Physio-Pulse channels. Today we will learn about the Cori cycle, and in a simple, easy to understand way, you will find clear explanations, diagram, and important concepts here. Before we begin, if you find the video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Now let's understand Cori cycle step by step. First of all, what is Cori cycle? It is a metabolic cycle in which lactic acid or lactate produced by the anaerobic glycolysis in muscles and which is transported to the liver, converted into glucose and returned into the tissues for reuse and energy sources. As you know, the different cells in human body, they need the release energy during the high periods of energy demands. Like during intense exercise, the Cori cycle is a metabolic pathway involving in interconversion of glucose lactate between the muscles and the liver. This Cori cycle is also called the lactic acid shuttle or lactic acid cycle. Cori cycle is named after the husband and wife scientist Cori, and they discovered this Cori cycle and they got the Nobel Prize 1947 with the discovery of Cori cycle. The cycle completes in the 5-step process. There are specifically 5-step process and where 4 ATP molecules are used. The 5 steps are the lactate production, transport of lactic acid into the liver, then conversion of lactic acid to the glucose, then release of glucose into the bloodstream and uptake of glucose by the other cells. So if you see the steps of the Cori cycle, then you will find that all the steps are happening here. And one important thing is that this metabolic pathway requires 3 different types of human cells. What are these things? This is one important is liver, another is the blood, and number 3 is the muscles for the high energy requiring cells. This cycle is vital for maintaining the glucose levels during the high energy demands periods like the intense exercise. And we will discuss the one by one step how Cori cycle was formed. First, lactate productions. Glycogen stored in the muscle and converts the glucose by the glycogenolysis. So we know that glycogenolysis is the breakdown of glycogen into the glucose molecule. And during high energy demands, especially the muscle cells, the pyruvic acid produced after the glycolysis of glucose follows the anaerobic pathway and to produce lactic acid or lactate. So this cycle is termed as the anaerobic glycolysis for lactic acid productions. Here the conversion of glucose to pyruvate produces 2 ATP molecules. And second step is the transport of lactic acid to the liver. The lactate produced cannot be utilized in the muscles, but liver cells can only use the lactic acid. So it is transported to the liver via the bloodstream. Then after that, gluconeogenesis has happened. What is the gluconeogenesis? This is the newly synthesized carbohydrate from the non-carbohydrate molecules. So this metabolic pathway helps to produce glucose from the non-carbohydrate compounds like the lactate. And during the lactate cycle, lactic acid converts into glucose, and it is a complex procedure requiring multiple enzymes, and it requires 6 ATP molecules. Number 4, release of the glucose in the blood. The newly formed glucose is released into the bloodstream. This release helps to maintain in the blood glucose level during the high intensity exercise period. Glucose is a fuel source for the tissues, including the brain, RBC, and muscles. And number 5, glucose uptake by the muscles and other tissues. Then finally, the glucose in the bloodstream is uptaken and by the cells like the muscles, brain, and other tissues. Here the glucose converts into pyruvate by glycolysis, which follows the aerobic fat to produce the carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide is then released into the outside the body via the lungs. So this is all of the steps of the Cori cycles or lactic acid cycles. And here energy calculation, if you see, simply through the gluconeogenesis process, there are 6 molecules of ATPs formed from lactic acid to pyruvate, then glucose. And another way in muscles, from glucose to pyruvate, then lactate, there are 2 ATP are used. So if you calculate this thing, glucose glycogen to pyruvate produces 2 ATP molecule, lactate to glucose requires 6 ATP molecule. So total 4 ATP molecule is used in this cycle. Although it uses 4 molecules of ATP, it is an essential cycle for the energy productions. So if you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any biology lessons. Thank you.